talking about when we talk about inflation. That's the rate at which prices.
Okay, I should be back now. I swear to God, guys, I swear I'm actually losing my patience with OBS so much. Yeah, I'm actually losing my patience now. I'm actually getting really annoyed because basically the tab crashed, and then for whatever reason OBS muted my mic. Or maybe it was never on in the first place. I don't know, but for some reason it keeps resetting inputs and outputs, and it's like, why you just save the stuff? Just save the stuff. So yeah, no. Just I need to go. I've got some older content I need to get out. It's good, but it's so like user unfriendly. Like it's like it hates people. It's like you have to like have some sort of like degree qualification or something to use it sometimes. Because I swear to God, it will just piss about for ages. Like it's done in my soundboard, so basically I can't hear the sounds, but you can. So if I play this one, before I could hear it, but obviously now I can't hear it, so I don't know if it's actually playing or not. So that drives me nuts. So the only way I can check is by going onto OBS, and it's not playing. So that's great. I'm just losing my patience, honestly, with OBS. I don't know why. Suddenly now my soundboard's not working. Okay, thanks, OBS. It wasn't playing for us either. We did not hear it. Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, it's not like it should be working, but it's not. So, I'm kind of losing my patience a bit with the software. I might look at other. I'm not sure why it's changing stuff. I can see the problem now. I can actually see the problem. I can't remember how to fix it. No, so the only one that should be working is this one. Is that one not even working? No, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll fix it at some point soon. It's just so dumb. Like, I don't I don't understand how you can make a software, ask people to update it. OBS is the software I use. I'll show you quick. This is the software I use. It's not the best. It doesn't. I should be in studio mode. Maybe that's why I run into problems as well. But basically, that's the software I use. But it's at the moment it's driving me nuts. Because like it's reset all my inputs for some reason. I should have realized that actually when I opened up the thing. Because it wasn't screen capturing, and so yeah, so a lot of the outputs are just reset, and but I can't. So I don't know. Like I don't want to mess around too much because we are live. It looks simple. Trust me, it's anything but. But yeah, no. For some reason, my soundboard isn't working. I'm not sure. They've got like a. I'm trying to think which one. Cause I set this stuff up ages ago. So I don't know what I'm supposed to even add. To this, because then So yeah, no, it's just kind of dumb. I'll be honest, like really dumb. I don't know if they've changed the thing I used to use. Add scene, is that it? Okay, I think I can fix it. Actually. So we'll start playing loads of stuff. Not Steam, but no, I don't. Don't worry about that, guys. So like I said, like before, I could hear it playing, but I can't hear it. So that drives me nuts. But we should be back on.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Oh, I say that, and I spoke too soon.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
So yeah, it looks like the thing's working at least now. Let me double check.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Can you guys hear the output from this? Let's try this one. Can you guys hear any audio from this or no? We can hear and see the soundboard playing, but it's drowning out your voice. Yeah, don't worry about that. As long as it's playing, I don't really care. But yeah, no. So yeah, as long as you can hear it, it's okay. Because I've, like I said, it's pissed me off. I can't lie. Because I can't see the studio button either. There it is. Maybe it's this I need to click. So basically what it's done is, as boring as it sounds like, don't ignore this. It's just because I'm double streaming. So basically, it's gotten rid of this thing for some reason, and that's where my soundboard is. It defaulted my display capture for some reason to something else, and so yeah, it's just drove me nuts a little bit. Because normally the stuff's meant to work off the bat, but yeah, as long as it works, it's fine. So then yeah, it's just annoying. Like it takes me like it took me ages to set this stuff up, and then it's just like, oh, we're gonna reset all your stuff. So that's fair. Whatever. I guess you can only get so mad at free software, but it's like, why are you making your stuff worse? But anyways, now to something completely unrelated. Let's discuss actual stream content, because there's a lot of sporting events tonight that I want to watch. There's the Champions League final, which is on at 8. There's the boxing in Riyadh, which again I hate sports washing, but they're the only ones putting on interesting fights. And then there's Islam Makhachev's fighting Dustin Poirier, but I'm not staying up for that. Or actually I might, because I've ruined my sleeping pattern within one day. So maybe I'll be awake at that point. But yeah. So yeah. Anyways, let's actually discuss the stuff you're here for, because that's the whole point of the stream. Because yeah, no, there's a lot that's happened. I want to get through these tabs, and then I want to there's 2 project videos I want to do, which I can't announce yet. Classified, or one's definitely classified. For now, that one I need to get checked. But other than that, yeah, let's get through these, because these are some older ones. But like I said, I've got some time off, so who knows? I might kick it to 3 videos a day once I got this week off to really start clearing stuff out, because a lot of this stuff is worth talking about. So this one here is an actual real look at inflation.
Let me just show you a few charts that kind of...
If you do have any audio issues, just let me know, because I can fix it when I do my actual videos in post. If one day, if you guys want me to do like my YouTube process, if you guys are ever that bored, I can do a video. I can do a stream on that where I can explain like how like YouTube works and stuff. If that's what you guys want, if you guys would be interested in that, let me know. Because it might be good for you guys to see how it works. But at the same time, like, people get bored by that stuff. So it's really up to you guys. Like, I don't mind. Like, if that's what you want, then just comment it now, and I'll do it. I'll do it at the end of the stream, I guess. If that's what you guys want, if I get time, because I've got like a... Yeah, no, I need to finish by 7:45, to be honest. But anyways, let's have a listen to Ed Conway.
Tell the story here, actually, because what we're talking about when we talk about inflation, that's the rate at which prices are rising each year. It's a percentage number, and you can see that normally, in inverted commas, it kind of rises relatively slowly. So this pink bit is showing you what the area that the Bank of England would like to have inflation close to, and you can see for most of that's going back to 2014. For most of that period, it's pretty close to that. Now look at what happened in the cost of living crisis. Wow, it went up really, really sharply up.
I like how he's talking to us like we're a 5-year-old, and I can respect it, because it actually does help me understand this kind of stuff, because I'm rubbish with numbers.
To more than 10%. That obviously was the period that we've all been living through, and understand what that means for prices, for our pockets. But this is what's happened now. So inflation has come down and down and down and down, and the latest data is this 2.3% in April. Now, there's a few provisos over this, OK? 2.3, it's great that it's within that level, but economists thought it might come down even further, so getting towards 2%. Secondly, when you look at other measures of inflation, so you can look at this and also strip out volatile stuff, that's not down quite as much as expected. When you look at services, so not just goods, that's not down quite as much as expected, all of which is to say, when economists saw this and people in the market saw this, they were suddenly like, oh, hang on, we thought the Bank of England was going to cut interest rates in June, or at least a lot of people did. Now, they're not so sure. So maybe it might be August, maybe it might even be later than that.
That's interesting, because I think Sunak was hoping there would be an interest rate cut during the election. That would really help him out. But again, it's up to the Bank of England how kind of political they want to be, because they can cut the interest rates now if they wanted to, especially given that the interest rate rises have been inflationary as well. A lot of economists have called that out. So they could cut it if they want to, but it will help the Conservative Party, so that's really up to them.
But here's the other thing that's just worth bearing in mind, OK? I want to just take the same line, OK, so prices, and rather than looking at annual change, OK, percentage, let's look at...
This is really important here, because this graph makes it look like things are getting better. If you look at this graph how it is, it looks like things are improving, because that you would think that's deflation coming, like prices coming down. And so this is why with numbers and graphs you've got to be really careful, and this is why I think Conway does a good job here.
The absolute level, OK? So this is the level of prices. You can see it goes up and up and up, and with levels of prices they just do tend to kind of go up and up, and I'm afraid. But here's the thing, OK? That's the cost...
You know, you could say...
with the bite, what's up?
of living crisis. Suddenly we went up from prices being around there.
That's the key. That prices are going up more slowly now, but they're still going up significantly. It's still, I think it's just inside the target for the Bank of England. But you also have to remember that the metrics the Bank of England uses are flawed. Because with the CPI rate, and this is something I've gone over with, I don't know if I should name drop him. Fuck it, I'll name drop him. Fact, not fiction. And that's something he's spoken about with, I've spoken to him about before, where basically the Bank of England can rig the interest rates, so the inflation rates, by changing what's in the basket of goods. Because they can pick out specific goods that are less inflationary and make the numbers artificially look better. So that's very possible for them to do. That's important, because you can rig the rates, or rig the rate of inflation, at least the appearance of it, however you want to. And that's a political decision that the Bank of England, I think, makes.
There to prices being there. And you don't really see that in this data, OK? Because inflation is really just measuring the difference between that and that. And if you...
And that's the problem with quarter-on-quarter growth, or, annual growth, however you want to look at it. It sounds better than it is. If you say, oh, the economy grew by 0.6%, it's like, okay, last quarter we're in technical recession. Well, this doesn't matter, though. If people's incomes rise, or more than inflation rate. It also depends on what things are going up in price, and that's something we'll talk about momentarily. If the price of, like, I don't know, airfare comes down, but the price of dairy goes up, you know, you could say these two kind of balance each other out in the inflation index. But which one's going to impact people more? Airfares coming down or dairy going up? Also talked a fact about all the different ways to show GDP. I've been looking at versions that show that we do not show government spending. You got GDP per capita, price purchasing power. There's different GNI. There's someone actually I know who's really good at this stuff, but I haven't spoken to her in a while, so I don't know. I can try and ask her about it, to be honest. But she did international development. She's very bright. She got an MA as well. I can try and ask her about this kind of stuff, but it'd be a bit awkward because I haven't spoken to her in ages. But if that's something you guys are interested in as well, like different metrics you can use to look at the economy, let me know, and I'll try and discuss that with her, because I think that'd be an interesting video in itself. Kind of the different ways we can look at the UK's economy. That's a project I can ask her to do if she's got time.
You look at those two lines, you're talking about a 2.3% change. That's the number we're talking about today. But for a lot of people, it's not about that. It's about the difference between this and that. And when you look at the difference between this and that, that's 20%. And I think that's the dichotomy.
That's the bit. That's it. I'm going to play this again. That's the part with the bite. This is it here. Look, that increase is massive. It's massive, and people feel that. This is the bit that's noticeable for the average person. That's a huge increase. And people notice that the price of their weekly shop's gone up tremendously. Everything's gone up in price. Everything. And that adds to it. You know, you get 30p, 50p, a pound on each item. That adds up to your weekly shop a lot, because you're buying 20, 30 items, depending on how big your household is. Like, in my house, I'm spending a fortune because there's so many of us in the house on shopping. And you really feel those kind of increases on, like, things like meats, chicken, spices, a lot of the stuff that's imported, because, you know, surprise, surprise, I'm Asian. If you didn't know, and obviously you cook with a lot of imported, like, spices, and mum uses like Bengali vegetables and stuff, and that's all imported. And so, like, that's the prices on those have gone up tremendously as well. And these are things you notice.
Here, between these inflation numbers where it looks normal and this, which is really not normal at all. Let me just...
And this is probably the best way. I think this is probably the best representation I've seen of it, where you can see here that increase is massive. That increase is massive, and people have noticed it. You know, this is something that Labour, I think this is a good attack line for Labour, a really good attack line.
General election. Yeah, because we think after 14 years of failure, the country wants change. I see that when I meet people across the country. I see it in their faces. I feel it in their handshake.
Even with gas at the same rate as before the invasion of Ukraine, UK bills up. Yeah, 70%. And you can argue, okay, the bill should have gone up because of staffing costs and increased logistics costs and whatever, right? 70% that's price gouging. That's straight price gouging. The things that went up the most are basic brand. It's normally like they don't call it Tesco value anymore. They used to when I was a kid. They've got like sub brands for it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Once the price of food stuff goes up, they never seem to come down. Once profit, yeah, I mean Tesco's been making huge profits, huge profits. So that's true.
But I also think it reveals a interesting lack of faith in Rishi Sunak's own plan, because he's been telling us the plan is working. He's been telling us there are good times ahead. It's good times ahead. And let me finish.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's saying inflation is down.
People are worse off. People are paying more in the shops. 2 years ago, if you go to Asda's, you'd got, like, what, 250 grams of butter for 148? What's it now, about 240? A pint of milk, 45 pence, it's now 90 pence. I'm not...
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's gone up by that much, but it's gone up by a lot, actually. It's gone up by a lot.
I'm going to go through my shopping list, but if you're going to tell the British public that they're better off and they've never had it so good, I think you'll find that attitude jars with the real-life experiences.
Let Andrew respond.
And then that wasn't what anybody said.
The
British people have made enormous sacrifices.
Yes, they have.
All of
by paying more on their mortgage.
Jonathan, let Andrew finish.
That's the sacrifice they have made, and that's because of decisions by the Tory government.
This is I think this is a good attack line for them, because if you look at it right, I would compare this to like France and Germany to look at the difference in cost increase. That's the best way they can do it. And so it's down to the decisions of the Conservative government. They don't even have to mention the B word. They say the decisions of the Conservative government have led to the cost of butter going up by, what was that, like 60% or something like that, 70% in the space of 2 years? That's nuts. I mean, it's going to stop me baking brownies for a while, but like that's really bad, guys. That's a big increase in costs, especially when we're a nation that produces dairy. You know, we're a nation that has a lot of cows and produces like a decent amount of milk. You would think that we would be isolated somewhat from increase in cost in dairy, but you'd be surprised. And some of it would be down to price gouging, yeah. Some of it will be down to actual cost increases. But you'd have to look at it item by item and shop by shop. Yeah, the fact that a major supermarket owner or a CEO or whatever donates to the Labour Party is dodgy, Stanley. I'll be real. That's real bad. And again, like it's up to the party who they take donations from, but it will influence their decision making. This is another graph from Conway, which I think is pretty good. When you look at it here, real household disposable income. Again, like the Tories had one really good term. That would be under Thatcher. Major. I think that's Thatcher and Major there, I'd say. Some supermarkets now lock up Lurpak. Yeah, I've seen that as well. Must be worth a lot of money on the streets. You've got that under, that's definitely Major. And then under Labour, you've got like decent growth, semi-decent, like, you know, decent household income growth. And then obviously you've got the financial crash which kicks in. But under the Conservatives, it's not been good. That's 10 to 15, 2010 to 15, that's pretty bad. 2015 to 17, embarrassing. 17 to 19 is slightly better, but that's still worse than, you know, during the recession. And then you got this 2019-24, it's gotten worse. We're moving backwards as a country when you talk about real household disposable income. That's because, you know, people aren't getting real wage increases combined with massive amounts of inflation and price gouging. This is another graph I'd run with if I were Labour. I mean, look at the state of this. It's gone down, and people feel that. I feel like people resonate with this graph, because this is noticeable. The average person, I think, feels this. And, you know, even if you make, you know, good money, you know, if you make say 70k, you will still notice this, that your bills are going up a lot, especially if you got a mortgage. We're going to switch gears, talking about Labour, and they're getting pissed off over their, you know, promises.
To know how before they give you their vote. So how is all of that going to be achieved?
So here's, for example, for our NHS, it means using the money from closing the loopholes on the non-DOMS taxation, which means that you have people who are registering to pay tax abroad and who actually earning a lot of money here in the UK, to say they should be fairly paying tax. We would close those loopholes and put that money into our National Health Service.
Remind me again how much, because
in the short term,
as to how much that would raise.
Yeah, and in the short term, without putting that money into the extra overtime session.
So, you know, some of the, I think the BMA and the medical professionals come out and said this work is untenable because of the fact that they don't, you know, like you don't want medical professionals working that many hours. And, you know, West Street was like, well, you see, outside my hospital, outside my building, I can see them working that many hours. And then the I think she was the doctor just said, like, do you think that they're working that many hours because they have to, because they're not paid enough already? And then Wes had no real answer to that. And I think that's the reality of it, that they are working. Some of them are working 2 jobs because they're not paid enough. You know, if you think about that, some of these medical professionals live in major cities. They're not paid much at all. Like, how are you supposed to function? The last thing you want them is doing is like a 2-hour commute or something like that to get to the hospital, because hospitals normally, I think, are based in and around the centres. So, you know, this overtime plan, I think it's got a lot of holes in it, and I think it's going to get picked apart by actual medical professionals talking about it. Streeting wants to make them work. No, I don't think he does. But like, they don't have an answer to this, because it's a long-term problem, and they're trying to offer a short-term fix. And what they don't want to say is, well, we can bring in more healthcare professionals from abroad. They don't want to say that. So what they're saying is, we're just going to get the ones that we have existing to do more hours, and you're just going to burn them out further. Like, it's just dumb. Like, even if the money is good, there's only so many hours you can work in a week as a human being. So this plan, I think, for me personally, I think is untenable. But you got to leave it to healthcare professionals to really answer this one. I think, and from what I've seen of it, they're not impressed by these plans. Management might be. Management will be ecstatic. They're like, yeah, we get more money, and we can try and push staff to come in more to hit targets and stuff. Management will be ecstatic with this sort of stuff. They love people doing extra hours and things like that, and not having to hire more staff. But if you talk about the people who are in the trenches, I don't think they're going to be too impressed by this. They don't sound it. Because what they need isn't more people doing overtime. What they need is more numbers. They need more people in the trenches with them.
For doctors and nurses to be able to do the weekend sessions, evening sessions, in order to cut waiting time. So it's around 40,000 additional appointments a week, and that would help bring our NHS waiting list down. So that is, I think, a practical plan.
They're all knackered. They're all knackered from the pandemic, from the pressures that the NHS has been. I'm not blaming you for it, but they are. That's the reality of it. Too few of them have the right numbers of colleagues. It's going to be interesting to say the solution is you work harder.
That's why you have to pay the full overtime rate.
Your colleague Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor.
I mean, even if you pay them more, they're still not going to be able to do it. That's the problem.
Chancellor has been at pains most weeks, if not most days, to say, I can't dish out the sweets. We have to be very fiscally responsible.
Even the way they phrase this, I can't dish out the sweets, is really condescending. It's really condescending. Like, we're not talking about passing around the Hello Haribos. What we're talking about is like people's lives here, in terms of how they can get dealt with at a hospital and how burnt out the staff that are going to be dealing with them are. This is honestly the phrasing that we use in this country and kind of the media class use. It's embarrassing.
I mean, that's just one example of where, with the best will in the world and the best sounding solutions and policies in the world, when reality meets your policies, it's going to bite, isn't it? And possibly...
Oh, sorry, guys. If I hear the word bite, I have to play this.
With the bite, what's up?
Sorry, guys.
Even stop them in their tracks.
Well, I'd say two things in response to that. First of all, I think actually just having a government, just a fresh start for the country, to set a different course, as opposed to...
It's just vibes. That's what No Justice would say. This is vibes. We have a new government and blah, blah, blah. Just having a new set of managers in to change course. This is 100%. This is vibes that she's talking about.
All of this chaos with to have a Labour Health Secretary who actually wants to work with the NHS, who wants to...
No, he doesn't. He keeps attacking them. Wes Streeton keeps talking about reform and how they're not doing a good enough job, etc., etc. Wes Streeton is attacking the NHS just like Jeremy Hunt did, just like Matt Hancock did. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Work with staff across the NHS who wants to get the changes in place that...
Hey, Cooper, who's your source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Just nuts.
We need, rather than picking fights, which is what we have seen for too long from the Conservatives.
But that doesn't create money.
They've really not
got
a grip. So you're right that there is also an issue about making sure everything we say has been fully funded. It is why we have said on both health and education, we've identified areas where we can have additional...
You talked about recruiting 6,500 teachers, which is 0.3 or half a teacher per school or something like that. This is nonsense. Because they're trapped behind these nonsense fiscal rules and reality. And the problem is reality will win. Reality will hit you in the face. Honestly. This from Ben Chu, actually. This one's pretty cool. About, looking at GDP growth figures and stuff like that.
Firstly, Rishi Sunak claimed that the UK economy is growing faster than other major economies, including...
Oh, hello. I've got something weird going on here.
The United States. He was talking about the first 3 months of 2024. And as you can see...
Sorry, guys. Looks like I had an audio echo. I don't know how noticeable it was during the stream. Was it noticeable? Like a dual audio? Like I said, it reset all of my outputs. That's really annoying, I can't lie. I just want to see if it's actually working. Sorry, guys. Like, normally this stuff works off the jump. That's what annoys me.
I'm about to kick this battle up a notch.
It doesn't look like the soundboard's the audio's working at all. I see the problem now.
The UK economy did grow faster over that period at 0.6% than the US.
picking fights of it. Your boss seems to have no problem with that when it comes to anyone not in the hard right of the party. I mean, also the fact that, you know, Labour did have beef with the... I didn't know about this until someone told me about it, actually. Labour had beef with the unions as well, the firefighters union, things like that. I didn't realise, because that person explained to me what was happening in their life, and I was at the time, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know that. I wish I did. It's interesting. So, you know, the idea that Labour wouldn't start beef with the NHS is nonsense, because they had beef with unions before in public sector.
0.4% and faster than other big Western economies.
Damn, Canada's cooking. What's going on here? Canada's doing pretty good.
Except Canada. But this is only 1 3-month period. This is a bit like saying if a football team wins on the first day of the season, they're winning the league. If you look at the UK's performance against the USA since the end of the pandemic, the record is a lot less flattering than this. The US has grown by 9% in that time. The UK...
It's pretty good, to be fair. 9% growth. That's pretty good.
UK by just 2%.
Oof. That's not good.
Another claim from the PM was that thanks to his government's tax changes.
Starting beef with the firefighters is one of the worst, in my opinion, one of the worst people you can start a fight with, because these are people who will literally run into a burning building to save people. Like, didn't sound, you know, these are people who will run into a burning building to rescue someone. Like, there's not many people braver than that. There's not many people who will run into a burning building. What? Vid volume low. It's as high as I can put it.
And a person earning on average around £35,000 is...
It should be fine. Again, like this what I'm dealing with here, guys. Like, I'll show you. Look, so I don't know if you guys can see. Look at the video audio output capture.
A £900 tax
so that's
cut. Now,
near my voice level.
Yes. People on £35,000 will get a £900.
So in theory, it should be fine, but
employee national insurance cuts, but they will be hit by other tax.
Okay, let's go back. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. It's okay to sound, but the video recording is lower than normal. It's just this specific video. Honestly, I can bear with me. 2 secs.
Person earning on.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll make a minor change. Just bear with.
On average, around 30.
How's that? Is that any better? Let me know. Is this better?
£35,000 is getting a £900 tax cut. Now, on the one hand, yes, people on £35,000.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not going to bore you with details, but yeah. It's just an issue. So now the soundboard should work with this as well. I just need you guys to confirm that with me. Why is this one not playing at all?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Is that even playing?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Is the soundboard playing? Yeah, sounds all good. Okay, cool. As long as the soundboard's playing, that's at least I've got stuff working. It's just annoying stuff. Okay, perfect. I think there's one that's not working, which I need to fix. So that's something. I think it's the fail to see logic here, but the other ones.
Start praying, boy.
I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, that one's working.
Start praying.
Working. We'll try one more.
I know you understand.
Yeah, we go. Okay, I got one that's not working. That's fine. I can deal with that later. Okay, sorry guys. I'm boring you guys with my technical issues, but yeah, no, I think this one. This one's good. This is what he's talking about is good. Let's go here.
Government's tax changes, and a person earning on average around £35,000 is getting...
Hey, do you know what? It's weird Ben Chu's not on the Newsnight set. Because obviously they've underfunded Newsnight a lot. They cut the funding to it. Is that why? This is weird, actually. Him not being on the Newsnight set is weird. A
£900 tax cut. Now, on the one hand, yes, people on £35,000 will get a £900 benefit due to the employee national insurance cuts, but they will be hit by other tax rises announced since 2021. And when you put all that together, an average earner will benefit by around £340, not £900.
Also, the fact that you fall, like, I don't know if he says it there, but you also fall into paying more income tax as well. So, like, you know, your first few months, potentially, you'll look better depending on how your tax is taken. But, you know, like, you'll notice the tax increase, so you don't get much out of this.
And people earning around £15,000 or £75,000, as you can see, are actually worse off as a result of this government's tax changes.
That's hilarious. You know, people look at people on the bottom and people kind of in the middle, the upper middle, I'd say, have been stung twice. And he's really gone for middle earners here, but he's not giving them a lot. But look at that. If you're earning 15k, you're going to be losing about £350. That's wild, you know, because 15k, that's not even a lot of money if you're on about 15k. So you're going to lose the most out of this change. Can you believe it, guys? The ones earning the least are going to lose the most. That's how callous this scumbag is, honestly. Speaking of taxes, though, that's a good segue. This is Starmer talking about increasing tax on the top 5%.
I think on trust, the most important thing is to look at the record of the individual. In my case, my record at the Crown Prosecution Service.
So are we looking at the one where you tried to ship someone to America who had hacked American computers, who's neurodivergent, and Theresa May blocked it? Should we discuss that? Should we discuss how you went really aggressive on rioters and people who'd some guy who stole a bottle of water? Should we discuss that? Because your record at CPS in some areas is really good, in some areas is lacking real bad. So we can discuss all of it if that's what you want, Sakir.
I arrived there and said we need to reform, and I reformed. I went to Northern Ireland.
But do you think that's
I went to Northern Ireland and said we would change the police service in Northern Ireland to make sure that both communities had
do you acknowledge,
respect.
So
and I changed the Labour Party.
If you've done something as in CPS where you followed through on promises, why is there a trust gap between you now as Labour leader and the public?
I think
it's true. You know, I'll bring the polling up when I do the actual video, but there is. The public don't seem as trustworthy.
Going to the CPS and following through on what I said I'd do was important. Looking at the Labour Party and seeing that I've changed the Labour Party. And I think that if you now were to ask people, why are you now inclined to think about voting Labour where you didn't just a few years ago, most people would say because it's a changed party.
Okay, so
I think most people say it's because the Conservatives suck and we live under first past the post.
That's my...
It's either the Labour or the Conservatives that win. Let's look at his record, not prosecuting the Met for killing. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I know that specific story. I remember that one. Yeah, that's true. And let's not forget that the person who oversaw that, she got promoted. Let's also not forget that. So thanks to him, we had a scumbag in charge of the Met Police. Or at least he played a decent factor in that one. So that's true. That's Stanley.
Mission.
I think that this is pertinent for you because you said in that speech it's disrespectful for Sunak to say the economy turned the corner when taxes are higher. But isn't it also disrespectful when you promise people, for example, to raise income tax for the top 5% of earners, and then you ditch that when you get nearer to power? Now, there might be good reasons for that, but doesn't acknowledging that you have broken some of the promises you made go some way to fixing these trust issues that you have?
I think it's
You've just totally avoided that.
Let me take that head on, because there are a number of pledges I made when I was running for Labour leadership. Most of those are still in place. They're the building...
That's not true. We've gone through that. That's actually not true at all.
Blocks of what we've now put in place. Some of them have changed. And this is an issue that's important, because the reason they've changed is because we can't afford to do them anymore. I said that we should abolish tuition fees. We can't, now the damage has been done to the economy, particularly by Liz Truss.
You could raise taxes.
It is not possible to do that.
You could raise taxes on the top 5%, and you said I don't really want to get into the policies. What I want you to acknowledge is that part of the trust issue is also about things you said as Labour leader.
It sounds like a therapy session, doesn't it? He goes, look, you need to acknowledge that you've lied here, and he just doesn't want to acknowledge it.
I totally disagree with you, and I'll tell you for why. I think it's more important to stand in front of the electorate and say, I'm sorry, I can't now afford what I said before because of the damage that's been done to the economy.
Bruh, it's a tax increase. How can you not afford a tax increase? That doesn't make sense. Are you saying we're too broke to give HMRC the money to deal with the extra admin? or to change the numbers in a spreadsheet or something. Like, what are you talking about?
Can't you afford to raise taxes for the top 5% of earners?
Not to simply stick with something which you know you can't afford.
Well, you can afford to raise taxes on higher earners, can't you?
What I'm saying to the electorate is this.
This man can't answer a question. Like, this is crazy. Honestly, every time I see this, like, they were... Oh, my God. Is this your guy? Is this the guy you're going to bat for? The guy you think to change? He can't even answer a question straight. He literally broke a leadership pledge, which was to raise taxes on the top 5% of earners. That was one of his pledges, and he's not going to do it.
I'm going to tell you in advance of the election what I don't think we can afford to do. I'm not going to
Oh my God.
tell you that you can have everything and then break a promise.
This is so bad. This is so bad, guys, honestly.
After the election, I'm going to level with you now. There are some things that we now can't afford because of the damage done to the economy. I think that is basic honesty with the election.
She should have kept going on this one.
You use this speech to talk personally about what shaped you,
Yes.
to better explain your politics. You said a while ago, voters are entitled to ask who you are and where you come from, but you don't like it. What?
A Blair advisor, yeah. I mean, I think it was New Labour who put in that tax rate. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it was the Tories under Cameron. They took it out.
What's difficult about that for you?
Well, because a lot...
Your dad was a toolmaker, your mum was a nurse.
A lot of my sort of formative years were about issues like my mum being very ill. Very personal, difficult. I spent many hours in high dependency units with my mum, not knowing whether she was going to make it through. As a teenager, I found that really hard. I found it really, really hard. And you may think, other people may think that's the easiest thing to go on national television and talk about. For me, it wasn't. It was really difficult.
Your sister Katie actually said, I've always been quite open about my feelings. Keir's good at most things, but not that.
Yeah, it goes into a fluff piece. She asked a tough question, goes into a fluff piece. It's embarrassing, but she should have stayed on that point. She really should have done. She should have said, like, how can you not afford to do a tax increase? It doesn't make sense. But at least she asked a question. We got an answer. That's the bare minimum. And, you know, there's more of this kind of stuff.
In terms of policy, look, we're inheriting a huge mess from the Conservatives. Liz Truss's short reign has thrown the country into chaos. And all of that, it means that whatever we would have wanted to do 4 or 5 years ago, we are having to trim according to the cloth that we're going to have available if we win the election. In terms of policy... You
can improve the cloth or get more cloth or whatever the fuck that means by... increasing taxes. This is something I want to discuss soon. Labour left-wing purge row is not dying down. This is something we'll discuss at some point very soon. Promise that. There's going to be 2 kind of videos around that. I did a video this week about what the hell is GB Energy, and we have some sort of answer, I think.
Can I just clarify this funding that you would give? Who would actually be in ownership then of that infrastructure that you're funding in order for GB Energy to actually generate its own energy? Would this be via local authorities?
Yeah, sounds like austerity, yeah.
You talked about private sector involvement too, but I'm just...
Right, guys, I'm going to wrap up in about 15 minutes. If you can... Oh, classic YouTuber eBegging. If you want to pick up a membership, they're available for £1. If you want to drop a super chat in whilst the stream going, please feel free to do so. But yeah, carrying on with the content.
Trying to clarify the extent to which it would actually be generating its own electricity, and that would all be publicly owned.
Well, no, it'd be an investment vehicle, so not an energy company. So it's investment.
Even though they said it would be an energy company, look. Yes, the Labour Party will create GB Energy, a new publicly owned clean energy company, and it will be an investment vehicle
In the energy of the future. The money going into it would be public money, but used to trigger private investment.
What like am I going to have to do the video again, guys? Of what the hell is GB Energy? I think I'm hoping No Justice does it, because honestly I'm clueless on this stuff, but like. Honestly, what is going on here? This one made me laugh. Tory candidate Robert Lagan appears to be using deceptive graphics to present himself as a Labour candidate, and I found it like they put Labour for Lagan, and then you can see at the bottom down here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Promoted by Jason something on behalf of Robert Lagan of High Peak Conservatives 1A. It's so funny. This is actually hilarious. Like, you can see it says on the Conservative thing on the bottom. He goes, I've been amazed by the number of local Labour voters getting in touch to tell me they're going to vote for me at the election because they want to keep me as their local MB for a high peak. There have been so many. I'm launching a new Labour for Lagan Club. I mean, remember, all the polls show Starmer winning a huge majority. Your vote. This is beyond parody. This is SNP failing about country. What? This is actually beyond parody. Honestly, this statement here is beyond, like, this is, oh my god, this is so funny. I want to discuss this one actually. Rishi Sunak being confronted by a member of the public over Partygate.
It's good that you sort of mentioned trust there. My mum died in 2020, sort of the height of the pandemic. My brothers couldn't sort of be with us in hospital. I couldn't be there.
You reported to the Electoral Commission, good.
Probably remember that was the month where all the parties were going on in Downing Street. I think the month after you attended a gathering where you got a fixed penalty notice. So my question was just sort of, how can anyone trust you or the party after things like this?
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry.
No, NJ, good on GB Energy. I understood if after this into essentially a de-risking device for the private... Oh, because it'll get a bailout from the taxpayer if it fails. Yeah, okay. If she does a standalone video, let me know at some point, because I'll watch it.
Sorry that you lost your mum, and particularly in those circumstances, because it wasn't easy for so many people during the pandemic, the impact it had on everyone's life. And I can't imagine what it must have been for you not to be able to be with her at that time. It was really tough. And I'm sorry for what was going on in Downing Street. And for my part, I apologised. I showed up to a meeting earlier. As you know, I was working on things to help you and your business and many other families like that. And in fact...
What did you say? I was doing you a favour, Chief. I arrived early because I wanted to do my job better. Like, what? Like, this is not a good answer. This is honestly not a good answer.
In fact, it was probably in that same period of time that you got to know me as Chancellor. But most of you didn't know who I was before then, and I popped up on your TV screens, announced the furlough scheme, because I knew that we were going to have to work together to get through that, and it was going to be a difficult time. And hopefully some of you here benefited from some of the support that we put in place, because that was what I was working on during the pandemic. So when you ask, can you trust me, we've had some really big shocks.
This is a really poor answer, guys. In my opinion, a really poor answer. You know, him saying, I arrived early because I wanted to do my job and help people. Like, this is... That is condescending, in my opinion.
Over the past few years with the pandemic, and then what happened with energy bills. And when those things happened, I did everything I could to protect you and your families and help get the country through it. Whether it was furlough, whether it was the considerable...
No, that is poor. That is poor. A poor answer. I've got like another clip of Rishi Sunak versus the public. I might do this. I might put these together.
And a really lovely idea, and it was great. I'm glad we did it. So, right, do you want to vote? Yeah, I was just going to ask, why do you hate young people so much? You're making us go...
You definitely know bro's streaming on TikTok as well.
So the army, you're making us...
No, you'll have a choice. You'll have a choice.
I've volunteered all my life, and
then you will love it. You will love it.
Why do I have to do it again when I'm finally coming out of education? And then
because I think that a culture of... I wouldn't do it like that. A culture of service is a good thing for our country.
A culture of service is a good thing for this country. Like that's just, that is not, he's not going to win that kid over as a voter, let's be honest. That is awful. Like saying yeah, exactly. This one, I haven't actually heard this one yet, but the economy isn't exactly unstable, it's just quite bad. So Lewis Goodall has actually been quite good. Somehow I'm mixed on Goodall, I'll be honest. Sometimes I think he's good, sometimes I think he's trash. So yeah, let's have a listen.
Stability is the new change, or will be the new change with a Labour government. This idea of stability, I mean, it's on your. I know you don't like calling it a pledge card, but the 6 first steps of Keir Starmer when he gets into government is to restore economic stability. And there's 2 points I sort of think about that. Is one, the economy is not exactly unstable right now. It's just quite bad. You can be stably bad. I mean, surely a Labour government could do better than having a stably bad economy.
I mean, Lewis
Have you tried to remortgage your home over the last year?
But those interest rates have now stabilised. That's my point. So yes, there was a period of instability about 2 years ago.
If you had to remortgage and you're paying 240 quid extra a month, as is on average.
So interest rates are going to come down under a Labour government.
That's been awful for people and their bills, food.
But Liz, a Labour government will have no control over monetary policy. That's for the Bank of England. So what's that got to do with you?
The key point here has been that the Tories' mini-budget, crashing the economy, the chopping and changing of Prime Ministers, Chancellors.
This is honestly NPC. This is honestly just default lines.
No long-term plan for investing in our infrastructure or the jobs of the future. I mean, all of these things have a long-term impact on interest rates, mortgages and taxes. And that is, you are right that the problem is, pathetically anemic, if any, growth in the economy under the Tories over the past 14 years. But that economic instability, and I would also argue political instability, is having a real impact. It's having a real impact on what investors think about the UK.
I don't think that's a great answer. I'll nix it for the actual video. I think she did okay, but yeah, no, I don't. Like, the economy is stabilised, but stable can keep you at 0 or 0.1, even minus 0.1. To be fair, it's still stable. What we saw in the Liz Truss was unstable. What the growth rate, the inflation growth rates, what we saw were unstable. Things like that. This one I found quite interesting. This will be the last one we play.
Human beings on these ministers to state their case. Would it be a good idea to have him on as well, so that he can argue the point?
Well, what do you want? What do you want the point to be made to them?
What is the point I want is, this is ridiculous. They think we're stupid. At the end of the day, all they've got to do is tax the super rich a little bit more.
They're not going to. They're not going to.
They say so. The Tories won't, because it's not in their nature. That guy was incapable of thinking outside the box, of thinking anything different. It's more of the same. He was just oozing it. He was not capable of thinking.
Steve Bray, I came across my first Tory, no chance of being an MP campaign today in a town centre somewhere in London. Anyway, he was 60, he's very polite, so I talked to him for almost 2 hours. Oh, fair enough.
Already, which doesn't work. Now, I am going to say this, and I believe that Labour are lying to us. I hope.
Do you know who this guy sounds like? He sounds a bit like, he sounds like that guy Pagan or something like that on Discord. That's who this guy sounds like. He sounds like Pagan.
They're lying to us because it's our only hope. They've got to get into power because they can't do anything from opposition. And I think that slowly, not overnight, slowly things will start to, and they will start to do things differently. But for that minister to come on your show, Tom, and say what he's just said, oh my God.
The economic good times are coming back.
They're monsters. They are cretinous monsters. And the sooner we get them out of our lives, the better. And
listen, Simon, how you choose to vote is up to you, sir, and good luck to you. The problem you've got, the problem all of us have got, the problem all the political parties have got. I mean, why would you want to win this general election if you know that at some stage you're going to have to find £19 billion worth of funding from somewhere in order to not do the cuts?
The only thing I can think is, and I hope, is that they genuinely do think they've got a chance. They genuinely do think that they're going to win, because I'm so loving to see all the tears in sports halls on general election night. And then they might actually realise that, hang on a minute, we got this wrong.
This stuff like, oh, I want to see the tears, I want to see the destruction of the party and whatever. I find these people so lame, because this is just feelings. This is how you want to see destruction. You want to see fire. You want to see flames, which is fine. But after that, you're going to have to rebuild things. After that, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do, especially when you box yourself in on tax policy. What are you going to do if Labour do increase the tax rate, which I hope they do, by the way? They're going to get called out on, why did you lie for? And that's all that's going to happen consistently over 5 years if they go back on these promises. That's why you don't make dumb promises in the first place. That's why you don't make promises and then break them the first moment you get, especially before an election. Because no one trusts them anyways.
But until then, the only hope we've got is the hope that Labour are playing the Ming Vase game and they're treading.
Oh, the Ming Vase game. The Ming Vase game. This guy's he's an O'Brien fan, you can tell. I've got a feeling I know who this is, but if it's not him, then fair. But these are the exact same arguments I've heard from this person.
So carefully so that they don't upset.
He's not listening, though, so it's fine.
They know they've got voters like me votes in the bag.
Right, so that's the point, though. Why say to the Labour, I'll give you what you want, which is a vote? That's all they care about, votes. That's all they care about. So if you say to them, I'm going to vote for you, you're an idiot. Because you've given up all your leverage. That's all you have. You know, I'll tell you, it's like this, right? If they want... This is literally the clip I play. I want to play more often, right? I'm going to add this to the soundboard, definitely. But I struggled to find like a good quality version of it, which is this. It's literally this, right? I can't find a good quality version of this, but yeah, this is what you say to them. This is at 2x speed. Sorry. It's this bit here, not this bit. This bit's dark. It's this bit here.
You're gonna have to work for your meal.
This is it. This is what I'd say to him. Like, if you want my vote, you're gonna have to work for it. That's literally what I'd say to him.
Okay.
You will have to work. You'll have to work for my vote. Because this is ridiculous. No, there are O'Brien supporters that are... Oh, my cat. Don't know if you guys can hear him. There are O'Brien fans that are a bit nervous about Labour. There are. I'll be talking about that actually in a separate video. That's going to be a fun one to do. But there's certain bits... I need to clear this out and then I can move on. Behave yourself, young man. But yeah... So that's something I'll do in a separate video. But point being is you got people saying, I hope Labour are lying to us. I'm just going to 1.5 speed this. 2.5 speed this, and then because I'm going to have to go in a sec because the sports.
And it's pathetic because at the moment nobody is addressing this issue. Nobody is addressing the massive elephant in the room, which is we're going back to austerity, guys. Hello.
Yeah. And, it's ironic coming from a former Theresa May advisor, but he's right. We are going back towards austerity.
Tom, listen, I'm going to make a statement. I've made it on here before 2 or 3 times. I stick by it, but I'm prepared to put my hands up if I've got it wrong, like I did with Brexit. My statement is...
Okay, that's definitely not that guy on Discord. That's definitely not him.
This. Keir Starmer is going to be the best thing that has ever happened to this country. In order to find that...
You're telling me he's going to be better than Clement Attlee? You think he's going to be better than Clement Attlee? Get out.
We have to get him into power. But I firmly believe in all my bones and my heart that man is the answer to our problems.
All right.
This is honestly the highest levels of cope I've ever seen in my life. This is honestly the most embarrassing thing I've ever heard. My man didn't just he didn't just get his cash taken. He had his credit cards taken, his PayPal taken, he's handed over his phone, his house keys, the deed to his house, his car, his clothes on his back, his shoes. This man's given up everything. So yeah, trust me, this is the highest levels of delusion. The highest levels. No, he's just mad. The cat's just mad at the door because the door's in his way. He hates doors because he can't open them. I would grab him and get him to say hi to the mic, but he'd get mad, and there's no point because there's no camera. Maybe at some point, if I have my camera on, I'll show you guys my boy. Hey, speak. Hey. Nah, he's not impressed. But anyways, I'm gonna end it here because the Champions League finals are in about 15 minutes, so I need to I need to go because otherwise the family are gonna get mad at me. But anyways, if you're watching this back, sorry, it's a bit of I think it's a lackluster stream, especially with the technical issues. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel, memberships, Patreon, all that kind of stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.